All right. Well, hey, my name is Ben Christophic, and my good friend Dan is helping me out here, and we are going to work through some of my guitar rig here. I'm going to show you what I'm using and how I use it. Maybe give some sound samples so you can kind of see how the different stuff I have goes together. God has really blessed me and allowed me to kind of throw this rig together, and I love playing. I love doing worship, so we're just going to have a good time and do some gear talk right now. So if you're watching this video, I I really hope that's what you want to do, because that's all we're going to do. So I guess actually first, before we go to the board, we'll talk a little bit just about this. This is my main guitar that I like to play. It's a Mexican Fender Strat, but I still really love it. It's got noiseless pickups in it, which is awesome because I don't get any of that single coil buzz. And this is my main guitar. I like to play for rhythm or for lead work. So I found with the 5 different pickup configurations, it's just unreal, and the different tones that you can kind of get with it. But this isn't the guitar I always played. I actually grew up and I learned playing on an Epiphone Les Paul, which I still really love, but I just have kind of gravitated towards this the most recent years. I also have an Ibanez Art Core, but that's currently in the shop. I'm trying to mod it out and stuff like that, add a tremolo bar to it. So, but I play that a lot too. I really enjoy that one when it's not in the shop. But I use couch seatbelt straps, which are incredible. Not only do they look pretty darn sharp, but they're super comfortable and they don't hurt your shoulder and real reliable. I also, quick note, I do not own a guitar that does not have strap locks on it. If you've ever seen a video or if you've ever seen me worshiping on stage, I move around a lot. Dan can attest to my high energy. And so with these, I never have to worry about my guitar moving or slipping or falling off or anything. And for me, that's a real big concern. But anyway, going out of my guitar, I have the Covenant Cables Remnant, which is their signature cable. I actually just this week was endorsed by Covenant Cables, which is super cool. They are an incredible company. David Park, the guy who owns it, is just absolutely unreal. And basically, they provide high-end cables with like absolutely no markup. So they charge for parts and they charge for labor, and that's it. So, instead of spending, 60, 70, 80 bucks on, a crazy monster cable or something like that, or Mogami from Guitar Center, you go to him and you get it for way, way cheaper. And it's still the same awesome quality. So I use his signature 12-foot cable, right angle into straight, into the board. And I also have his cables and stuff in other parts of my rig, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I guess we can dive right in. Okay, so first we'll start with the actual board itself. We'll see if we can get another cool shot of this. But my board is a Dullen Customs, and that's owned by a guy named Dan Dullen, who I'm real good friends with. He was actually a worship leader, the worship leader at a church I played for years ago. He's since moved kind of back home up to New York, but he started building his own custom wooden pedal boards, and he built me one. And I absolutely love it. It looks fantastic. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's as sturdy as an ox. So shout out to Dan and Dullen Customs. If you need a pedal board, definitely check him out, because he honestly could not be a greater guy as well. He's just absolutely wonderful. So that's the board itself, and you can see I have my I/O built right into the board. So it got in here, and then I have 2 1/4-inch jacks in there that I'm able to run out for. So just real quick, the wire run through of the signal path, I suppose. I go into the board, into the Walrus Audio Deep 6 compressor, which is absolutely wonderful. I pretty much leave it always on, except with a few different guitars that I would play. but it's always on. You kind of just leave it and set it, and it just, I really enjoy it. To me, I've figured out a way to have it so it's not super noisy, like most compressors normally would be, and it just adds just great sustain to my guitar. So I really love it. Then out of the compressor into the TC Electronics SubNUp, which for the money is an incredible octave pedal. It's a lot cheaper than any of the Electro Harmonix Pogs, and to me it sounds just as good. Out of that into the Timmy Overdrive, which I picked up recently. I use that for most of the guitars with my humbuckers, so you won't really hear it today in this demo. But it's a Timmy, so it's wonderful. Then out of the Timmy into my Full Drive 2, the MOSFET edition. I originally had the non-MOSFET, and I didn't like it, so I switched to this one, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It sounds incredible, and the boost is pretty cool too. Then into the Walrus Audio Mayflower. This is my main second stage drive that's always on. I really love this pedal. You'll get to hear it in a minute. But this is just absolutely wonderful overdrive, and it works great for second stage. Even first stage too, you can dial it in and tweak it in. It's real nice. Then into the Fulltone OCD, which has a little bit of dirt on it. I picked this pedal up because I started playing my Strat more and more, and I remembered I've never heard a Stratocaster that this pedal sounds bad on. So I love it. I use it as a third stage, kind of right after that for like real thick leads or maybe some octaves, and it blends in real nice. Out of the OCD, we go all the way back over here to the Tapestry Audio volume pedal, which it's got the small form. It's made out of like solid aluminum. For a board this size and with the amount of stuff I have jammed on it, you need to save space and wherever you can. I originally had a Mission Audio VP Pro, or no, yeah, Mission Engineering, I'm sorry. And that was great, but it was just too big. So I picked this up, kind of traded it in, and picked this up. And I mean, it works great. It's also made out of like solid aluminum, I think, and it's really heavy. For what it is, but it works great. It's super heavy duty. Don't have to worry about a string breaking or anything. And it works, and that's really all you really want in a volume pedal, truthfully. Out of the volume pedal, that splits into my tuner here, which ends up being always on, which is super nice. But then I go into my Boss DD500, which is an incredible delay pedal. It sounds great. It has a looper built in, which I've been using more of recently, and I can show you a little bit how I've been using that. And the looper is great, but this is just so awesome because it's super easy to dial in presets for different songs with the knobs on top, and the screen itself is really great because you can get in and you can easily see what you're editing and everything, and it's super easy. So I like this. For me, I know a lot of people love the Strymon timeline, but for me, like, and for the difference in cost, this is the way to go. It just sounds great. Out of the Boss into the Eventide Modfactor, and this is like my chorus, my tremolo, which you can see it's currently bypassed, but that's what it is. Any sort of weird modulation effects goes right through here. Fun fact: I originally had the Modfactor before the delay because I thought that would be better, but as it turns out, if I used like a trem and then the delay afterward, the delay just kind of really busted it up, and it really didn't have that same trem effect. So you'll be able to hear what it's like after the delay, and it's much better. Out of the Modfactor, we go into the Strymon Blue Sky, in which this is my always-on reverb. It's just a nice room reverb. And then my favorite setting is a modulate setting, and it just, man, for swells and stuff, it just sounds unreal. Then out of the Blue Sky into the Empress reverb pedal. And this thing is a beast. Let me tell you, it is just super cool. I'll be able to show you some demos of that later, but this is really nice because I have the different presets, so I can save different presets for different songs, and then be able to call them all up. The only other fun fact, real quick, is this right here. See if we can zoom in on this here, Dan. This is the Morningstar Effects. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this is the Morningstar Effects MC6. And what this is a MIDI controller. So it controls my Boss delay, it controls my Eventide Modfactor, and controls my Empress reverb. What's awesome about this, and is not only the small form factor, because most MIDI controllers not only are bigger than this, but they don't have the super awesome display, but I have a bank, essentially, of presets per each song. So you can see here, let me do it here. We hit that button, we can bump down to a different song. I actually have this one saved twice, but if we go up a bank, we can see Out of Hiding, Broken Vessels, Ever Be or Ever Bay. And so I save for each song that we would do, that we would have in our set, I save a bank of the different presets of basically my wet effects, my modulation and delay and reverbs and stuff. And I can save the different settings for what that is. So it's great. All I then really have to worry about for changing patches, not only for a song, but parts within a song, is my dry effects. So whether or not my overdrive is on, and then one button here, and it loads up everything that I would need, even for that specific part of the song. So I love it. And that's how that is. The whole board is wired with lava solderless cables. Yeah, the lava solderless patch cables, which are super great. They sound awesome. The MIDI cables, with the exception of this one, are the right-angled MIDI cables you can kind of get from anywhere, and they sound awesome. I think that's about it for the top of the board. Oh, I will also say that the strings that I'm using on my guitar are Gear Supply Company Gear Supply Co. strings, and my word, I love them. They sound incredible. They're really super chimey and bright. They just pack a punch to me. I absolutely love them. So that's what that is here. I'm going to set this down for just a moment. There we go. So then my signal here. Maybe, is this okay, Dan? Is this going to work? Okay, perfect. Because I'm actually going to flip this around. I'd forgotten. So then the signal, by the way, I run stereo out of the Modfactor. I run stereo into the delay, into this delay, into this delay. Then I run stereo out. Now, you'll get to see what the bottom of this looks like. You should be able to get to see. Whoop. Excuse me. All right. How's that?
I can see it.
Perfect. Okay, so all of this, by the way, is powered by the Seox Chocolate, or however you pronounce that. It's just an incredible power supply. Dan Dullen is a dealer for these, so if you're looking for one, you definitely call him up and he'll build you a pedal board too. But anyway, my signal then comes, stereo signal, comes into this one's mine, basically a summing patch bay. I usually run in stereo, but every now and again I can't, so then all I have to do is unplug this left one, and it sums the signal into a single output, so then I can only run into 1 amp. But then, assuming I'm running in stereo, I just this week was able to pick up the TA Solutions stereo link, which is actually a stereo guitar interface for running long cable length. So I don't have a long cable length now, but I actually set it up so we'll be able to hear how it sounds. So basically it converts your guitar signal coming out from your board, which is going to be like a low, like a not real powerful signal anyway, converts it into a high powered signal. I believe it's low impedance, basically a balanced signal. And so that way you can run it into an XLR line and run it like up to 300 feet. So you can like run your amps off stage, things like that, so that it, you don't have to worry about the stage noise. So I hooked that up, so we'll use it. I don't need to use it here, but I use it. Then it has a like a patch bay if I wanted to, just run regular tip ring sleeve, regular guitar cables. Then it can do that as well. Then he has the I/O and everything built all in here. Is that good? There we go. Scoot this sucker back around. Here we go. Is that? Let's get it. Whoop, hold on. There we go. All right. So then follow me. Coming out, this got messed up a little bit. Coming out of the board. Whoop. Again, these are Covenant cable, 15 foot.
Yeah, maybe I should get to that
side. That's okay. Yeah, you know what, that might be good. Okay, how's this?
Good stuff.
All right, so coming out of the board, I've got, again, the Covenant cables. These are just regular guitar instrument cables. They're 15 feet long. This is a Gear Supply Company heavy-duty power cable, which I really love. It's super heavy-duty. Don't have to worry about it busting. And then I run the XLR cables with that, with the TA Solutions link mounted on the bottom. I just run the XLR cables, which are also Covenant cable XLR cables. I really love Covenant cables. I never have to worry about cable problems ever again, which is just beyond thrilling to me. I just run those underneath. But because I have all like 5 different cables coming in here, I picked up what's called a pedal python, which is basically like, you know, you kind of have the snake skin, so it's all in one little thing. So all I have to do is I unplug it and I roll it all up, and it's one nice thing. All 5 cables fit inside this, which is awesome. And you won't be able to see the length, but it runs 15 feet basically. So that I can run that all the way back to my amp or farther back for power. It's awesome. Coming into the amps, so we'll be able to see this here, okay? Is this a good shot?
This is okay, yeah.
Okay. Coming into the amps, you'll see these are the other ends of the TA Solutions link. So it's basically kind of, in a sense, a direct box. It converts the signal back down to what you would normally go into an amp. So you got the XLR sends, and then just right into the amps. And so then my 2 amps are, this is a 1983 Fender Bassman 135. It's actually got a bass amp side as well, so this is actually my main bass amp head, but I use it for guitar because I usually don't play bass. I just plug it in the guitar side. And then this is a custom cab. It was originally like a Vox cabinet, but I took out the Vox speakers, and inside are Celestion vintage 30s. And they sound incredible, my goodness, which you will hear in a very short time, I assure you. This is my main amp, so like if I'm running mono, this will be the amp that I'll take and that I'll use. Again, you have the TA Solution box. And what I really love is they're color-coded white and red. So I kind of did the same thing so that I know what line is what. So you can see white, red, or red, white, red, white, red, white. So you can keep your signals real clear. This is a Fender Blues Deluxe reissue, Fender Blues reissue Deluxe, something like that. But it was actually my first guitar amp, and I still love it. But it's super, super loud. It's a 50-watt amp. So I actually mounted a power soak, like one of those THD brick power soaks. I actually mounted it underneath it and actually cut the power in half. Because if I didn't, you'd never, basically if I ever played above like a 2, you'd like lose your hearing for the rest of your life. So that sounds real good, just like that. So that is the signal. I think we are ready to start hearing some sounds. I think we are. Okay. All right, so now we are going to just show you a little bit of how I use the effects and the things that I have on my board so that you can kind of understand some of the sounds that I get and some of the sounds that I use. I'm going to go, hold on, there we go. Okay, so this is my like standard clean sound here we go. This is my standard clean sound, just like that. All that's on is the compressor, and I do have the full drive on. I mean, I can turn it off and it's a little bit more It's a little bit more crisp, but I like the tone the full drive gives me. So that's what I consider to be my clean. And then if I'm going for like a real clean sound, I'll build delays and reverbs and things like that on top of it. But if let's just assume maybe just a standard chorus of something that we're going to play. So I'll have my Mayflower on, and then I will also throw my Strymon Blue Sky, which is my always on reverb. And then we have something like this. So that's that. And that's kind of my standard sound. I know specifically right now I have the Morningstar loaded up for actually an original song that my church does. I play guitar for Lifestone Church on the south side. And we've been doing some originals, and it's been awesome. So I have it loaded up currently for some of the specific parts that I play. This song is called I Can Say. So if I'm going to play the lead for I Can Say, it would go something like this. Except not hit the wrong note. But that's okay. So you can see here a little bit. I'll show you how this MC6 really works. So if we're playing I Can Say, the first intro part is just some swells that I do. Then the intro 2 is the lead that I just played. And then if we go to the verse, there's a part in the verse, and you'll see I switched my delay from what's intro 2 is this patch. Verse switches to that. And you'll see that kind of sounds something like this. It's like a except again, still not the wrong note. But then that kind of switches the delay around. And then so we go play through that verse, and then we'll get to the chorus, and you'll see it takes it right back to the delay that I would use for the chorus, which is awesome. Then we'll go back, play the verse again, then the chorus, and that sounds great. I'll show you, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. So then we play through that chorus, and we're getting through, and if I'm playing lead, I do this cool little part here. But I know the last time that we played this song, I was the only electric, so I had to do a little bit of rhythm and stuff in there to keep it full. So then we went down here, and I hit the bridge, the patch that I have loaded in for the bridge, and we turn on my Eventide Modfactor, and we switch to a tremolo. So then there it turns into something like this. Which is awesome because the tremolo, it just works for that part of the song. But then the bridge is over, going right back into the chorus. All I have to do is hit that. It turns off the pedal, and I'm right back into my chorus sound. So this MC6 is super, super, super useful for coordinating all of your wet effects, because I find that I can manage my overdrives and which ones of those I want on pretty easily. I have them all on the front of the board, so that's real easy. But the MC6 is awesome because then I can load up my reverb presets and things like that, delays and all that. And then all I have to do is so for a big part of the song, all I would have to do is say, turn my overdrive on and hit that. And then my sound is set, which to me is just super useful rather than hitting this one, then this one, then this one, then 18 different pedals. So that's pretty darn cool for that. So now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to just show some different sounds that I use for some different parts that we play. Let's see here. So I guess I'll go through and I'll show, like I said, this is my first stage, overdrive, or first stage, kind of a clean sound. Then we go to that second stage there and dirties it up a little bit, but it's still a nice a nice crisp, and this OCD is that third stage, and that's where it just gets crazy. Whoa! We'll edit that in post. So that OCD really just cuts through, and I use that a lot for leads or for octaves. When I'm playing octaves for like a big song, I'll go like. And it really helps the octaves cut through there. So that's kind of how I use my overdrives. But truthfully, I bounce mostly between the Mayflower and then my clean sound. And I use my clean sounds a lot. I've been really, really into clean sounds on the guitar because to me they just, my goodness, they just sound so sweet and so nice. So for some different clean sounds that I use, let's see. So we'll use this. We'll jump up a bank to another song. We'll actually jump up to Broken Vessels here. So for Broken Vessels, I don't turn on overdrive until like the last chorus. So this will be a perfect example. So settings are set from the last song we did, I Can Say. So then we're going to jump into very intro of Broken Vessels. All right, hit that. Switches the delay, turns on this one specifically some chorus, and then we're ready to go. So that's the sound that I would use for the intro part, even though that was not played at all right, but that's okay. Then we're getting ready for, we'll skip the pre-chorus for now. We'll go into the chorus. I'm sorry, no, we want the pre-chorus. We're going to that pre-chorus. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Usually I'll switch this on as well. But we switch to a different delay. We turned this reverb pedal on and switched to the correct. Whoops. Hold on. There we go. Turn this reverb pedal on, switch to the correct patch, and then turned off the chorus, and then this is the sound that we get. So it's this super like real drawn out kind of high end, just sitting in there real nice as whoever's leading the song sings. And then, so you turn on all these different pedals, turn them all on and off. Then all we do is we bump down, switch back to the intro, and then we're bam, right there. All of those changes with one switch. It's absolutely incredible. So that's kind of like a real high-end, like drawn-out sound that I use. If we just switch to that being off, and we'll just bypass that manually for there. For a couple different like rhythm sounds I'm doing or specific leads, the Blue Sky mod setting is absolutely incredible. It's just sits there real nice. Sustained for days, man. But that's like a clean sound that I use for a whole lot of different guitar parts. I gotta say, the guitar player I play with at Lifestone Church, his name is John. He's absolutely incredible. And he and I are able to jam out, and he'll be doing some lead work, maybe a little bit lower down on the neck, and then I can kind of just sit up here and and play some real nice high stuff that's just going to sit right in the mix. So it kind of just sits right in there. It's really beautiful. I really enjoy playing clean because it's just fun. I don't know how else to say it. I really enjoy the clean sound. So probably the only other thing that I really want to show you guys is we'll switch to this real quick. So we've been doing this like nuts the past couple weeks. What I do is I use the shimmer settings kind of on the reverb pedals, and my looper in the Boss delay to kind of set up like this really like high-pitched pad kind of sound. For this specific song, What a Beautiful Name, we've been doing it for some other ones in different settings, but this one specifically for What a Beautiful Name, at the very beginning of the song, I kind of set this up and I let it play the whole time. And then I only start to build some more stuff in there once the bridge builds up. But this is kind of how it works. I hit the shimmer setting. My blue sky is on. I'm on my clean sound. I run my actual shimmer is coming actually from the Boss delay, which actually sounds really good. Then into the modulation of the blue sky. And then the Empress is running just like basically another long modulation as well. And it just kind of is really high and drawn out. What then I will also do is I will switch to the looper mode, and the preset, it doesn't show, but the preset is still activated on the looper mode. And I will basically then proceed to play this real high-pitched, I'll swell into it, this real high-pitched kind of pad sound basically from my guitar. Then as I have that playing, I will loop that like this. And then it just sits there and it plays. And it's like this real nice high-pitched thing right where the vocals, or right kind of underneath the vocals. And it just kind of sits there, but it's still moving. It's not like a stagnant, just like one note thing. There's like 3 or 4 different notes in there, and it's kind of moving around, and especially playing in stereo, it really comes out well. So then, specifically for this song, I'll kind of wait till the bridge rolls around, you're able to worship and stuff like that. Then I will turn on my second stage overdrive, and this is where, with that still playing underneath, I'm able to do some swells. So we can do some swells as it builds up and eventually dies away. But then that pad is still there, which is pretty cool. And then I can actually stop it right like this. You can hear how long those trails are on that reverb. And then if I need to start it up again for another part of the song, right like that. So we've been doing that a lot, and it's worked out really cool. I've really enjoyed being able to play like that. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of how Ben plays guitar. That's kind of the cool sounds that I've been using. The only other thing that I do is I use this octave pedal sometimes for some real cool leads. So here, I'll show you that real quick. So if we jump back down to another song. I have it saved. Mercy. All right, perfect. This is an awesome song by Bethel. I have different settings for the verse, chorus, second verse, but coming out of the chorus and into the bridge part, what me and my friend John kind of worked out is I play this real high shimmer part, and then when it kind of breaks into a full band, he and I do this like harmony solo thing. And he's not here, so we can't do the harmony, but I can show you what I do for it. So we're coming out of that second chorus, and we go right into the bridge there. And I switch to my bridge pickup and stuff, and I kind of just do this. So I kind of just let that sit in there. I don't actually loop it or anything, I'm just playing that while he's doing some other stuff. Bridge eventually builds up. I'll actually then, as we're playing that, I'll switch my overdrive on. So I'll switch the overdrive on. And eventually it builds up more and more. I will then turn the Empress off, turn the OCD on. I will leave the modulation on, and the part of it, kind of the solo part, kind of just is those same notes except with a different sound. So then it switches more into like a. He and I are playing a harmony there. He's playing the harmony with that. But what I also do for some extra bonus flair is I turn on my SubNUp. So then it's like a harmony plus an octave, and it's kind of crazy. So then we kind of switch into this like. And then back into the chorus. You delight in showing mercy and all that fun stuff. So that's kind of cool. You know, you're playing a harmony of another guitar part, but then you throw that octave on. It just kind of really fills it out. So that's kind of that. Yeah. So that's kind of how my pedal board works. I'll post links and everything to specifically the MC6. And maybe do another tutorial on the actual programming of how that works later. Because believe it or not, that entire thing, as crazy awesome as that pedal is, to make it even better, you can control it via a desktop editor on your computer, which makes it super simple to copy and save presets and all that fun stuff. So that's kind of how it works. It's how I play the tones of the guitar. Thanks for watching all this time, and yeah, have fun and just keep worshiping.